Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks. We are here. Game one of the NBA Finals is 7.5 hours away to break it all down. Brad Thomas, Brian versus the Books. Boys, what's going on? Are we ready?
Yeah, man, I'm stoked. Like tonight is the night. I already put in my food order for what I'm having for the game. Like I already have bets locked. I'm just so excited. Like I hate when it's over, but when we get here, it's like such a great journey.
I'm just excited because I feel like we've been talking about every single angle and every single like weird prop of this game because we've been here for three straight shows or whatever before game
Yeah.
starts. So
Some of us
that's
four straight.
that's
Some of us actually showed up on Monday. So yeah.
hey man.
Yeah.
Some people had people that wanted to hang out with them, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Let's just say there's a guy watching who hasn't listened all week. He has no bets. Say, hey, all right, finals are here, day of the game, which a lot of people do. They wait till the day of the game, hour before the game. I have no bets. I haven't watched anything. What is the best bet that is currently available? Brian, you go first.
I think to beat a dead horse. I like the point 12.5 for Aaron Gordon. I think it's gonna be a good. I think he's gonna
Over?
see
You said
over,
over.
yeah, over,
Okay.
yeah. Because the way I played it, as I said earlier, as I paired it 10+ points with Jokic 9+ assists. It's like a same game parlay. It's -120 on FanDuel, but it's also -110 on DraftKings. We kind of talked about it a lot, but I do think he sees more minutes because I don't think we see him disappearing in the fourth quarter with the defense you're gonna need from him. And if you're on there a lot, Jokic will find you at the rim.
It's funny. I'm gonna play this bet. I guess sometimes when I play like those lotto tickets, I don't really like play lottos to like ladder it up. But I was gonna play Aaron Gordon or Aaron
And
Gordon.
Gordon.
Yeah, that's the fancy guy from France.
Yeah.
20 plus points at plus 650 on FanDuel. Like you said, I just think that Jokic is going to be so involved, and Aaron Gordon's have a lot of those slashing cuts to the basket, but he's also going to get at least 3 or 4 clean 3-point opportunities. So I imagine if he has what 7 field goals, two of them threes, he's going to do pretty good. And that's not including any that he might get fouled. I think he's going to get a lot of those slashing opportunities.
Oh man.
Uh,
I
I
hope he
I
doesn't get
didn't
fouled. I hate when he
hate
gets
watching
fouled.
him shoot free throws.
He's at the line. You're like, damn, I need 2 points. What are the odds he makes
Yeah.
both of these?
And then he misses them both. Oh,
Yeah.
trust me. I know all about the Aaron Gordon experience. He was in Orlando Magic. But a must-play prop. You haven't watched any of these shows. Man, I still got to go with Jokic to be leading scorer of the series. It's still plus money, still plus 115 on DraftKings. Like, I locked it in last night, and I like still looked at it today. You got to bet it. I just Jimmy Butler's point total is probably going to be set around 26 to 28 every single game. Jokic is probably going to be 27 to 29 and a half every single game. Who's more likely to go for 50? When I went back and I looked at all of the games, you see that each player played, like Jokic had flirted with 50 a lot. In games where blowouts, he scored like 40 points, or even one game he scored 35 points in 3 quarters, and he was just like in the third quarter, he didn't have to come back in. Like I just think getting plus money on that's too good.
Yeah, I think it's funny you mentioned like the 20+ angle for Gordon. I was actually thinking about that. I have like all these free bets from like this deposit match on FanDuel, and I
Yeah.
was actually kind of like thinking about doing like an Allen or like a Nick Larson type thing where if I take 10 points and 9 assists for Jokic to Gordon and almost laddering it up, do like 10, 12, 15, 12, like whatever
Yep.
it is, kind of like doing that with free bets, kind of ladder it up a little bit.
My best bet would be Denver over team total over 114 points. I just don't think Miami has an answer for Jokic. Nobody has an answer for Jokic. If Davis can't stop him, like Davis is probably the best defensive player in the league or top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
If he can't stop him, I mean, Bam's a good defensive player, but he's given away a lot in height. He's given away, 40, 50 pounds. There's a
Yeah.
reason Denver's owned this series. Jokic has dominated this series. Miami just doesn't have the bigs. They don't have the bodies. And man, there's talk of, well, we could put Kevin Love on Jokic and have Bam play the Ed Reed free safety role and just roam around, or maybe put Butler on Jokic and do the same. It's just, man, I just don't know what you're going to do. And then you come into the conundrum here of, do we double Jokic? Do we just let him get whatever he wants and not leave open shooters? To me, there's just no answer for Jokic. I wish Denver had a little less rest. 10 days is a lot. It's like having 2 consecutive All-Star breaks. But, man, I
Yeah.
just think this is not Boston, which can be hot and cold shooting. This is not, some of these other teams. I just think Denver's a machine on offense. I think they are a really good matchup here against this Miami defense. So, to me, Denver team total over 114 is a good bet.
Yeah, I think it's a stupid statement for me to say, but for all the reasons you just mentioned, though, vice versa. It's like if you're the Heat and you want to win this game, it's really all about game one. Like I know they're tired of this and that, but you talk about like the longer the series goes, they have all the attrition. Like if they want any shot in this series, it's now when they have all the momentum. Like that's the only chance that I think they really have is to come out hot this game.
Which they've done the first 3 series. They stole game 1 in Milwaukee. They stole game 1 in New York. And they stole game 1 and 2 in Boston. So they've been playing from in front. They haven't had to play catch up. And, if you just is a tough spot in terms of the rest, in terms of being tired, they played a long series against Boston. If you come out and you're down 1-0, then all of a sudden game 2 is a must win. And, this can get out of hand in a hurry. If you ever fall behind 2-0, winning 4 out of 5 against this Denver team, barring some injury, is nearly impossible. So, yeah, I think this is a good matchup for Denver. How do you guys think Miami handles this defensively? I don't buy the idea that they're going to zone. I don't know that you could zone Jokic. Maybe you do it a couple possessions here or there. Do you double? Do you just let Jokic get whatever he wants? Do you probably mix it up? What do you guys think Spoelstra's game plan is here, doubling Jokic or playing Jokic?
Yeah, my thought kind of ties into my sleeper play. I think they mix it up, right? So I guess it's a good time to talk about my sleeper play because for those who don't know. So I obviously took the Caleb Martin free 1 point. Like if Caleb Martin doesn't score 1 point, so be it. Everyone who doesn't have sleeper, make sure you go download sleeper app. Use promo code Goldboys. Get a deposit match up to $100. Listen, depositing is easy, withdrawing is easy. Sometimes it comes the next day when you withdraw all the money that you're going to make from the help of all of us, obviously. Caleb Martin's points are over 0.5, but in my sleeper, I did Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 threes, and Jokic over 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And the reason I did that was because I think that Miami is going to try a couple of different things on Jokic, which is why I didn't want to pinpoint on one aspect of him, whether it's scoring or whether it's assisting a lot. I think if they're going to, double sometimes, they're going to throw a lot of action at him. And one thing that I saw even Tristan Thompson talk about, which I don't think is going to work, but if they end up doing what Tristan Thompson was talking about, and that's meeting him early at the point of attack. So basically, when he gets the ball early, put a body into him and then let him work from there. I think that if they do that after a while, Bam's going to need help, which leaves Porter open for threes, which leaves guys cutting like Aaron Gordon cutting to the rim for easy dunks. So that's why I kind of liked that. I think it kind of correlates pretty well. And then if it just turns out to be a Jokic night where he just goes off, then I'm kind of covered there too.
Yeah, I like that. I think it kind of answers our Will's question a little bit too, where that's the only way that Spo can even have a chance here is you can't really run one look for more than a few possessions to have a chance against this offense. You're gonna have to mix it up almost by minute, position by possession, because once you get predictable, it's whether it's driving to the basket, finding open shooters on the corner, or just those post ups are so good at. You can't really give them a chance to have the same look on defense for more than a few, possessions at a time.
For all the talk of props and strategy, let's just, a lot of people just want to, hey, I want to take the 9 or lay the 9. There's 8.5 out there. And hey, if you like Miami, find a 9. If you like Denver, 8, find an 8.5. That half point, it's not always going to matter, but when it matters, it matters. So get the best of the number. Where would you guys go here in terms of the point spread?
I got to talk about it in two ways. Okay, let me stop overcomplicating things. I like the Nuggets -9. When I get if it moves more, which I don't think I think 9's pretty settled right now. But if it moves to 9.5, I have a different way of playing it. I'd probably play the 9.5 for half a unit, and then play the second half. I think second half spread is like 4, which is fine. Which is I'd play that for the other half. But I just don't want to get closer to 10 because that's when I start getting a little worried. Any backdoor action it's just 1.5 points, 2 points like that. That becomes a lot when these are the sharpest lines on the book.
Yeah, I think that's what I do. I do think it's Denver, and we kind of mentioned earlier, if it's close at half, that's like almost the best thing for a live better is that if it's close at half, you can kind of bank that hopefully Miami has that trail off that Will was kind of talking about, just being weaker bench / just they just came off a 7-game series where guys played a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
You can bet quarters here. So, hey, I want to bet the third quarter. minus 185 on the money line for Denver, minus 2.5. There's some threes again. Get the best number
It was 2
for the
when it
third
opened.
quarter.
Yeah, it was 2 when it opened because I was looking at that angle when the lines opened. So that's just kind of telling. Like, I think people get that strategy.
Yeah,
Of like
running
third
out of
quarter
gas.
is going to be, like the legs, like you don't see lines in the quarters move that much.
Right. Plus, if the game, let's just say there's a scenario, and it's very possible, Denver's up 18, they're up big.
Yeah.
And they come out second half, foot on the gas, end the game. Fourth quarter, sometimes we know this from watching blowouts. Fourth quarter can be a coin flip. You put the backups in. Fourth quarter can sort of go either way. I think you want to isolate it and just stick to the third quarter where that's where Miami runs out of gas. That's where Denver's going to keep the foot on the gas. And that's where you could see the separation. So people thinking, oh, I'll just bet the second half. I don't hate that. I would prefer third quarter. And again, that 2.5 sounds like a lot. Maybe, man, half a unit on the 2.5, half a unit on the money line, because a lot of times in only a quarter, a point and a half, 2 points is enormous when you're talking about just a quarter where it can land right on the number. So I don't dislike a Denver third quarter play either. I think that's
also a good bet. It becomes one of those things too where if it is one of those third quarters foot on the gas for Denver, you might see their starters play the whole 12 minutes compared to Miami that might pull them earlier. Which I know Brad mentioned his sleeper pay. I kind of have a ticket as well, one to put up there.
Yes,
so you take advantage of that free square for Caleb Martin, who he's probably the best player in this entire series. He might average 30 points. So I think getting one isn't too bad. But I kind of harped on it earlier, but I just did, I mentioned doing a ladder up with those Gordon and Jokic pairing, but on sleeper you can just do the 12.5 and the 9.5 for Jokic with the free square. And you would think this is one of those ones where I mentioned, even if it's a blowout, these starters for Denver probably play at least 30 minutes just by playing the whole third quarter. And if they're out there, I mean, those lobs to the hoop for Aaron Gordon should be there all game, especially late in the game. If you start seeing Bam leave early or whatever it is in terms of that third quarter where they start trailing off, I think, you take advantage of those plays to the rim.
Speaking of sleeper picks, Griffey Betts was on yesterday. He left his sleeper pick. I think he's at his bachelor party, but he did the same thing. Caleb Martin over 0.5 point. And he parlayed it with Barkov on Florida over 0.5 point, and then Eichel on Vegas over 0.5 point. You get almost 4 times your money. 20 pays 78. So that's Griffey Betts' pick, and his handicap was Barkov 12 points in the last 8 games versus Vegas, and Eichel 12 points the last 10 games versus Florida. So both those guys have done well. So sleeper picks, check those out. Keep an eye on baseball here. It looks like 2-0 Phillies there, Brian. Scherzer was in some trouble. I think Turner tried to steal third, and they threw the ball away. Alvarez threw the ball into the outfield. And next thing you know, it's 2-0 for Philly, who has not played well here.
I'm all for that. I'm watching the. It's funny. I'm being a bad Phillies fan. I'm watching the Blue Jays game because I have Kevin Gausman. I have his PPD with the Blue Jays. So he already has 2 strikeouts if you're on that.
I have the little box here. Do you have that? Do you have DirecTV or what cable do you have?
I'm Xfinity. Like I have Xfinity here.
I mean, DirecTV has the channel at 720 where you get the box of every game that's going on. I think it maxed out at like 8. It's a lot of fun, so I'm keeping an eye on all of them. I play a little no-run first inning in Padres Marlins here.
What is it? I also have like the MLB Network, which is nice. Like the League Pass version of it was extra innings.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bo Bichette just 1 yard. All right, 1-0.
Oh, you're a little ahead of me against Peralta.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about Noah? How about Noah Syndergaard saying he'd give his unborn hypothetical son to go back to as dominant as he once was?
Yeah.
And I mean, all of us have played sports at some level. That is a tough feeling when you're good once and then you're not good anymore. It's tough. Yeah.
It's hard to come to that realization, which is one of those things, not to get too off track. I hate when people like mention the Phillies. Like I'm a big Ryan Howard guy when I was growing up, and when he kept playing after that Achilles injury, it's like, oh, he already has all this money. Why is he still trying to make it work in the league? And it's like, dude, you never hate on a guy that's still trying to make it big in the league. It's not about the money. Once you're older, it's like, yeah, they have money, but they're not out there for money at that point.
Can you imagine the feeling just being in a stadium, a building with 45,000 people and hitting a home run in 40, in front of that many people? Just the adrenaline rush. That's something you can have all the money in the world. You never get that feeling again once you're done playing sports. So I totally agree. All right. You guys want to get back to basketball here? Anything else we haven't touched on? Who's a guy? I'll ask it this way. Who's a guy you want no part of? I'm just going to stay away. I don't know. Over, under, Porter Jr. I don't know if he's going to go for 30 or 8, that kind of thing. Is there anybody you just want no part of?
For me, it's Strus.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know if I want to take his under or over. I probably won't even take Caleb Martin, because
I'm with
you
you.
know
Probably
it could be,
inflated, but I don't want the
yeah,
under.
it's yes, exactly. His line's probably inflated. He probably plays less minutes because they need to throw more bigs because they need to play bigger.
Yeah.
And like by less minutes, I probably mean like 32 minutes a game as opposed to 40. But ultimately, I don't want any part of that.
I want to go and say just like you kind of hinted. I want to agree with Brad here. I think it's the rotational players for the Heat because I know that covers like 3 or 4 of them, but you don't really know how they're gonna play. Like they don't have a 1 to 5 of all stars. Where like the Denver, you can kind of guess the rotations, but they're gonna have to run some weird rotations. That I wouldn't be surprised if you see like gambling Twitter get upset, say like, oh, I bet on Caleb Martin, and now he's only playing this many minutes because maybe he's getting exposed on defense, and they need to, go more size. So I think it's just it's too hard to guess how the rotational players for Miami are going to be a factor in the series.
Yep.
Do you think we see love for Miami?
God,
I
I guess because, and it's not because I think they think he's gonna be effective, but the more bodies, the more
bodies.
heavy you put on Jokic, the less effective he becomes.
Yeah,
and I don't know that putting love on him is some great answer, but you
No,
just
but
need
yeah.
body can't play every
we
minute.
saw
and
Tristan Thompson get meaningful minutes, guys. Let's not put anything out of the
You're right.
out of the rotation yet. Yeah, that's what I mean. Where I think it's not as fun to say, wait for game 1 to see how it plays out. But I wouldn't feel too confident trying to take anybody on this Miami Heat, outside of like Butler or even Bam because he's gonna play minutes. But I just don't know how they're gonna use some of these guys.
Correct series score. Any interest? Would you take a shot at? I mean, sweep is in the 450 range. 5.
Wow,
is,
sweep has now gone down to 450.
You shop around. There's some different numbers. There's some 4-to-1s. There's some 450s.
That's still very low compared to what it was. We were just talking about it in the 6s.
Yeah,
I think Bet365 had a rogue plus 6-to-1. Then it went to plus 575. So that's what helps when you have 20 different books. And again, Pickett Sports is a good thing for that. You have 20 different outs. You go and you find like a plus 575 when everyone else is plus 450. But what were you gonna say, Brian?
The only thing I hate about Pickett Sports is that I have Chapman just 1 yard. Let's go. That's huge.
Nice. Congrats.
I was gonna say was that Pickett Sports it's always sucky because I go to Jersey here to there, like here and like so often that Bet365 is on my list of books for Pickett, even though I can't use it in PA.
Yeah.
So there's times I'll shop lines and I'm like, oh holy damn it, because they have some crazy lines. Yeah. Also, in the chat, someone just was mentioning Chapman's going yard. Is there anything better than to watch someone like in baseball hit a home run that you have like if their team to win or have them hit a home run?
First touchdown scorer.
It's like I just mean like seeing it and then like on my phone I have like the notifications and then having it pop up saying Chapman home run or whatever. Like I think that's it's so awesome when it goes your way. But if you're watching baseball and it goes the opposite way.
Oh yeah, and you're like, oh my god.
And then your phone buzzes. You're like, I know. I know.
Or I think it's actually worse. I think it's worse when you get the alert that the opposing team.
It's the worst.
And then you watch and you're like, oh my god, I know.
Or you can just tell.
Maybe it goes foul.
Or you can just tell if you're watching the live line. Like the live line, it's so funny how fast ahead it is. Like you'll know if in a basketball game that team must have just hit a 3 because it's -4.5 to 7.5.
I have an issue with the live lines for baseball because I swear I hate it because you'll have like a team that's -180 and like they'll start with if they're pitching they'll have like a first pitch strike and the -180 will go to like -222 and I'm like, all right, that one strike is not worth 40 cents on your money line. So like they always do that.
True. It's so true.
No, I was gonna say because then it'll be a ball, it'll be a 1-1 count, and it'll go back to like -175, and I'm like, how is this changing the price by 50 cents per pitch?
In football too, like obviously 3, 3.5, they're key numbers. You sit there all week, the line's 2.5, 2.5. You're like, I want a 3. It never comes. You just spend hours looking for it. Then the team will get like a first down, and all of a sudden it's like 3.5. Like these lines do move like crazy.
Man, another single for the Blue Jays. Peralta's getting tagged every single start. When I was writing it up, I was mentioning that where his last 3 starts, 6 runs, 3 runs, and then 10 runs last game. He's getting like, I like Freddie Peralta. I root for him, but man, he's one of those guys that he throws too wild and too hard for his own good because when you connect with him, he is just getting shelled right now.
This whole conversation, I've been looking for correct series score on DraftKings for the sweep, and I can't find it. Like, it's just too disorganized here. You guys at DraftKings, you need to just consolidate this better. I shouldn't have to spend 15 minutes looking for this. I'm going to go somewhere else and look for it. By the way, Brian, you're like a minute ahead of me on the feed, so you should really just play it off like you're a genius, like you don't know what's going to happen and predict these things. Like, oh man, he's in the middle of the plate. I have a feeling he's going to give up a home run here. You could really play that off.
Did play like Rain Man. That's what it's so funny.
Yes.
That's what I would do sometimes, like to kind of, freak out some people, like my girlfriend, where I'd be like, "Oh, I bet
I do
you
it to
this."
my girlfriend a
It's
lot.
like, I bet you this guy, they're gonna run a high pick and roll, and he's gonna hit a 3, and it happens. I'm like, oh wow. And she's like, "How'd you know that?" I'm like, it's how it works. I didn't just check it for the fun of it. Like,
There was a story when Jordan and Pippen were on the Bulls. Jordan used to come out like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and shoot. And they'd be, how if you're ever at a stadium, they have those stadium games like where's the ball under the hat, those kind of trivia, those kind of things. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah, the ball, yeah. Yeah. Keep
Or
going.
like
I know what you mean.
stadium race or stadium games, or like, oh, which has the ball. So every time they'd be
Oh,
practicing that. So Jordan would see who wins. And every time out, like during the game, he'd go to Pippen, be like, I bet you $100 B's gonna win. And Pippen never won and never caught on.
Yeah. That's so funny.
That's a free lunch.
I think the best part about that is that Michael Jordan, even in game, is like, how can I gamble right now?
All right, I pulled up Bet Rivers because it's a little easier to find here. My goodness, I love all the options, but my God, make it a little easier. So plus 450 to sweep here at Bet Rivers. Denver in 5 plus 220. Denver in 7 4-1. Denver in 6 plus 450. If you want to get cute here and pick Miami to not only win but a specific number of games, plus 850 in 6 where they do it at home. 10-1 to win in 7, 20-1 to win in 5, 40-1 to sweep if Jokic ever gets kidnapped or something. Any of those jump out to you guys?
I think we talked about it a little bit. I think it's just I'll be honest, I kind of hate how the series prices are listed at, because it's one of those things where you're betting on the exact thing that happened, and if you're talking 4-1, 5-1, I just think it needs more juice. That's kind of my standpoint there. I think it goes 5. I think the 5 or 6. I think I give Miami more credit than some people do. I do think they'll steal at least one game. I know Josh would disagree, but I do think they steal at least 1 or 2 games, but not enough to bet it at those prices.
Yeah, to me, 5's the short shot
fair.
for a reason. 5's probably the most likely, where it goes Denver gets both at home, they get a split in Miami, then they close it in Denver. I think that's rare. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a sweep. I wouldn't be shocked if it's goes 6. I think we've talked about this, though. If you're asking me, hey, 5's the most likely, but what's more likely, 4 or 6? I think I'd go 4. I really do. I just think it's a bad matchup here for Miami.
Yeah, I think 5 is a safe one.
5 safe. I like the spread. I played it on Cloud Bet, which is owned by Pinnacle, which is fine.
Which is fine.
Minus
yeah.
165.
All right, let's say Denver wins.
Good.
Let's say Denver wins tonight and they win comfortably. What's the line for game 2? Same. They knock it down a little because Miami's doesn't have the rest disadvantage. What do you think we're looking at for game 2 line?
If they win by a lot, I would say 10. I mean like a lot. I think 10 is reasonable to think.
I think whatever it happens, I think there's no way we see a line the same by the close. Like if they blow them out, like I think whatever they put it at, like I said, this would probably be a good strategy is if you have the time, like if Denver blows them out right when the new line's set, bet Denver immediately, then wait before tip and bet Miami on the other side, because I think you'll get 2.5 points of value there just because of the public overreaction. And I think what I talked about this on VSiN is what I think is going to happen if this gets out of hand. I think we see Spoelstra pull his guys maybe 3 or 4 minutes earlier because he knows this game is not a game where it's game 1 of the NBA Finals after your team just played literally a 7-game series. It's not like anyone's expecting them to win. He doesn't have to fight this hard. This is a game where it's okay to lose that game. Pulls his guys, let them get some rest, get a little bit healthy ahead of the next game. I know it's not that big of a break, but every minute counts. And then, but the people who aren't really paying attention to that, the bettors who are just like, yeah, screw it. They just start pummeling the line. They go, oh, this is gonna be a blow in every which way. Then you might be able to get a nice middle.
So why aren't we parlaying Denver with all of Butler's under points, rebounds, assists, with the idea that, hey, Denver's up 16 into the third quarter and Butler sits the fourth quarter?
I think that's smart. I think a lot of people are already going to be playing Butler's under because I think his point total went from 27.5 to 26.5.
Yeah.
Hasn't been very efficient recently. So what do you guys think? Let's just say Denver wins by 12 or 14. What do you think we get for a line, a game 2? Because I I don't think it'll go up. I think people will think,
I think 8.5 is fair.
I think it'll
Yeah.
stay in that case. But when you said win comfortably, I was thinking like the 16 plus range. Like if it's like something like
Yeah.
that, I think you'll see it move.
Yeah.
But if it's within 15, I would imagine it stays around 9.
it's two different things that are sort of competing. It's all right. Denver wins by 16. A lot of people would say, "Oh, this is a mismatch. Denver's going to kill them. I'm going to bet Denver." But you're going to have a group of people say, "All right, Miami's down 1-0. They're going to need to win here. They're not at a big rest disadvantage anymore. It's sort of an even keel here where they get a couple days off. Motivation here. I'm going to play Miami." So maybe that cancels out and we just get about where we see, 8.5, 9, same sort of thing. What if Miami? Boy. I would say if Miami wins, it's probably going to go up, which doesn't make sense because Denver's going to need the game.
It probably will. I honestly, I think the biggest way this line moves to 10 would be if Miami does win.
Yes.
I think that's one of those, because and it happened before. I mean, it
Yeah.
happened with the Celtics series too. It's the line goes up. I think what was it? I think it moved 2.5 points.
Sixers,
Game
Celtics,
2.
same thing.
Yeah.
It always happens. It always happens.
Yeah.
How about if Denver is up 2-0? What do we see for a game 3 line in Miami?
I go Denver. 5.
Denver minus 4.5. I said that on
Oh, shit.
Beason yesterday,
I
minus
think you guys
4.5.
are high. I think
You think it's
high.
gonna be like Denver 3.5?
3? I'd say 3.
3.
I mean, you're going to adjust 6 points for home court with 3 each way, maybe a little more, but you're going to have to build in a couple points for motivation for Miami being home down 2-0. So I think 2.5, 3.
Can I answer 4? But by tip it'll be 5. I think that's kind of where my head is that it might open around 4, but I think it'll get
it's
bet
too
up.
high.
That's fair.
It's too high. That's only
high. If Denver wins the first 2,
they're
you're
gonna
saying
build
3.
in some desperation for Miami.
Okay.
In home court's worth like 3 points each way, I would think. Miami doesn't have a great home court, but Denver does. So that's like a 6-point swing. You're already down to 3. I think it'd be closer to 2 than it would be 5. My guess would be 3.
Well, I cannot wait for Denver to win the first 2 games, and we're figuring out what's the spread going to be. We're more excited to see what the spread is at this point.
But this is the kind of thing that helps. Where if you have an idea where the spread is, then you see value. Hey, I thought it would be here. It's there. I'm gonna bet it.
Yeah.
Oh, Roy almost hold out. Sorry.
What do we got going on in golf before we get out of here?
Listen, tomorrow, fade Jason Day again. Anybody you want to put up against him, I prefer ball strikers. I faded him for the tournament. He's dealing with a bone bruise. Listen, bone bruises just don't go away. And he says he's going to fight through it. And the only reason he's trying to fight through it is because this is near his house. Like, I feel like he had people that he made obligations to, but there's a good chance that he packs it in tomorrow. Like, he's 4 over. He could possibly be sitting by the time he tees off, since he's going to be an afternoon tee time, he could be possibly sitting on the wrong side of the cut line. He has 2 or 3 bad holes where that bone bruise kind of hurts. He goes, all right, let's just heal up. Let's not hurt ourselves before 2 weeks before the U.S. Open.
Who's got first round leader right now? I saw Hubbard was shooting well.
I think Hubbard still there.
Under. We have a bunch of guys yet to tee off though.
Yes, we have like probably a quarter of the field hasn't teed off yet.
Anybody worth jumping in on live bet, like to win first round leader outright? Anybody you suggest?
It'd probably be a good time to get some shares on Roy McIlroy.
All right.
Let's see. Let me just not talk out of my side of my neck because I need to see what the pricing is. Now, I'd probably say save your money or bet John Rahm. John Rahm, there's 2 courses that John Rahm played really well. This course and Torrey Pines. And if you look at his winning percentage at both courses, it's astronomical. John Rahm is now 2 or 3 strokes off the leader. Had the worst round that he's going to have here in 4 rounds and still was 2 under. It's really scary. And he's 6-1. He went off at about 7-1. So that's only if you don't have anything in pocket.
And this is a good field, right?
It's a great field. Yeah. And this is a tournament that John Rahm's already won in the last 3 years and was leading. So Mark Hubbard's probably going to bogey this hole right here. So that means John Rahm's going to be 2 back of the leader and played the worst round that he's probably going to play in the 4 rounds that he plays.
Golf's a funny sport because you spend all this time, researching it, whether it's listening to people, listening to podcasts, doing your own work, and you put in the bet, whether it's first round leader outright, you get all excited. By the time you check it, it's dead. Like I had Cam Davis today. A bunch of people liked him outright.
Yeah.
First round leader. First score I saw was like +2. I was like, oh, that bet's over. Like 6 hole.
That was Tony Finau for me at the PGA Championship because he was the morning tee time and then he was like 5 over. And I was like, there's a saying, you can't win a tournament on Thursday, but you sure can lose it.
Yep. What's that? Is it the Simpsons meme where the grandpa walks in the house and he takes that off and walks back out?
Yeah, and then walks right back out.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, before we go, who wins tonight and by how many points exactly?
Denver wins by 22 points tonight.
Whoa.
Oh,
I do think we didn't talk about that. I do think some alternate lines are in play with the fact that
I know
Spoelstra can pull the
I'm being
plug.
very disrespectful to the Miami Heat. Denver's gonna have rust, but listen, they set this line at 7.5, 8.5, 8 points at the open. I think it's gonna be there's a real possibility that we see a gross blowout in this first game.
I'll give Miami some credit, and
First
say
first NBA Finals for these guys too. Like I think it's gonna go the opposite way. No jitters. It's gonna be crazy scenes. Like, dude, listen. I have friends from Denver. I'm looking on their Twitters this morning, and there's all their like. I cannot believe we have the NBA Finals at home tonight. Can't wait for the game. Like, oh, that place is gonna be absolutely electric.
Yeah, I give Miami some credit. I do think I'll say Denver by 10. I think I'll go 10.
I was going to say 10 too.
All right,
well,
I'll go Denver by 14. I do think you guys think it's worth playing some alternates just with the idea that Miami's tired. They could get blown out. They could pull the plug if they're blown out. Is it worth laying some alternate? I feel like you don't get a good number. I feel like
especially not with 8.5. You need like alternates. You need like the dog. You need the dog who's going to blow them out.
Yeah, and I'll say this too: is my friend I was out like last night with. He was hardcore trying to sell me on Miami game 1, and I'll be honest, he made some decent points. I'm not telling you I'm going to bet it, but I will give Miami some credit.
Can I hear some of these points before we go? Is he a sports bettor?
Yeah, So he played in France. He's a good dude. He basketballs his whole thing. He was just saying like. He was just kind of saying like that Jimmy Butler like kind of like the dog of this team, and it's kind of like we're both Eagles fans obviously, so he's kind of saying like relating it back to like the 2017 Eagles where they had that identity of being the underdog. Like this Miami Heat team has been plus 400 every single series, plus 300. That they do kind of have that, I'm not saying basketball is the same thing as attrition, but for game 1 they come in here with a momentum and they have that swagger of being like, oh, we're the team that no one expects to be here, and they just play like loose. I can see it. Would I put my money on it? No, but I will give them some credit that they should keep it somewhat close, I would hope.
All right, this will be the last one, then we'll get out of here. If Miami does win tonight, it will cost me a lot of money, but if they do win tonight, will you guys have the mindset, oh man, this is for real, they're going to do it, I'm going to bet on Miami to win the series, or will you jump the other way? Now I get a discount on Denver, I'm going to bet Denver to win the series. Which way would you go?
My mentality is going to be different than what it would be if I didn't have a Miami ticket. Like if Denver lose the first game, then I'm going to bet on Denver solely as a hedge.
Yeah.
But I think if Denver loses tonight, they have more of a chance to blow out Miami in the second game.
Yeah, I think it's also one of those things where you talk about, we go back to the attrition. Miami comes out and they surprise the world with that dog mentality tonight. There's still you can't outdog, attrition and 7 long series that just had like they don't have the depth to necessarily go 7 and be effective here. So I would probably lean to, if they win tonight, go Denver.
And we'd probably see this drop to what, minus 200 or something if Miami won tonight? Not only win a game, but win at home. Yeah, Denver would still be favored. Like we saw that in Boston, where Boston was a huge favorite, but they lost game 1 and they're still like minus 220. So I think we'd probably see in that neighborhood. All right, boys, anything else?
No, man. I hope you guys have a ton of fun. And as always, make a bunch of money.
Man, another double. Dude, Peralta's getting tagged.
He's getting hit. He's getting hit.
Is crazy.
All right, boys. I think this was it was a good show. We kind of brought people behind the curtains, showed how the sausage was made a little bit, but hopefully we helped you make some money. Good luck with all of your plays. Thank you to Pickett Sports. Thank you to Sleeper Picks. Brian will be back Monday breaking down game 2. We will have either Denver up 2-0, 1-1. We'll have plenty of game 3 to talk about. So we'll see you Monday. Good luck with all your plays.
See you guys.